When you think about data centers, think about the convergence that's led by digital content, social media. It is the changed connectivity that we have as a society that's driving this particular convergence between power and automation. So when you look at information and the content that's growing at an exponential rate, what does it mean? It means that the data center, which is the engine that drives the growth in the content, the growth that's driven based on a digital information age, that is moving at a very, very rapid pace. That's the engine driving the data center space. And from a data center point of view, if you don't look at the content, but you rather look at it from a slightly different perspective, the one that you know very well if you know ABB, that perspective is from the flow of power. A data center takes power in megawatts from the grid, converts it through high quality, low voltage power distribution all the way down to the chip, which is running at between 2.5 and 3.5 volts DC. So hundreds or thousands of computers running at DC, starting with power coming at megawatts from the grid, going all the way down to the particular server at DC voltage. If you look also from a different perspective, a building this size, if it was a data center, would be a 10 megawatt building. It would occupy as much space as this building, but consume as much power as 25,000 houses. So it's a tremendous amount of power that's consumed by data centers. And in this world where energy is getting more expensive by the day, reliability of power becomes a concern. And as this business and this market starts to grow, from a scale perspective, the energy consumption is also going to grow accordingly. So it's the thirst of digital content that drives the data centers, and is one of the highest energy consuming growth markets that ABB can even think of today. So when you look at it from a slightly different perspective, let's say you are a CIO of an industrial company. A data center takes up to 25% of your annual budget. So it's a significant amount of costs on an annual basis. It's a rather large investment. It's the one that you have to live with for an extremely long period of time. So within ABB, again, we look at the data center from a slightly different perspective, the one that you're very familiar with. Let's look at it from a power delivery perspective. Now you can imagine 10 megawatts of power coming into a data center. It's substations, substation automation, it's transformers, it's medium voltage equipment. From there, it goes through a low voltage power and distribution system into the computers, into the servers, all of which, at the end of the day, are controlled through a process automation software. And given the tremendous amount of heat that's generated in a data center, there's a significant amount of cooling that needs to be done. And that's the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And you can imagine a drive and a motor working in combination to reduce the amount of energy that's consumed and the amount of energy used to cool the data centers. So while a data center from a content point of view might not be new to ABB, data center from a power consumption, power delivery perspective is something that we are very familiar with. So if you think about a data center that's 10 megawatts, it would cost you something close to $4 million a year in annual energy costs, just the electric bill. If you look further into the energy component, it's made up of three key pieces. 50% of the power consumed in a data center is consumed by the servers. 20% is the energy that is used or consumed delivering the power to the chip. And the 30%, as I mentioned, a data center is a big heater. You need to cool it. 30% of the energy is consumed in the cooling part of it. So within ABB, we said, why don't we look at both the computer and the distribution as a way for us to enter this market from a slightly different perspective? That's exactly what a data center is all about. You have thousands of computers, hundreds of points of interaction And can we optimize 5 to 10% of the energy consumption in a data center? Given our expertise in process automation, I would say very much. This is something that we do every day. We just need to take a different look at it from a power distribution point rather than just purely from a data content point of view.